if a deer manager hasn't faced the problem of having their food plots eaten up, they will face it.
Just a matter of time.
Yeah, they will. So, you know, what are your choices? I mean, we face that, and obviously the easy one right away is plant more acres of food plots, increase your acreage. And I like to do that rather than knock the deer population down, but if you can't stop them from eating it to the ground so it looks like the green on a golf course, then Mickey, what's your choice?
Put up a fence.
Yep.
You know, that's another
Yep.
option. One thing we haven't talked about yet that's also an option, because sometimes you can't just simply expand acres. You might already be tilling everything that's tillable.
That's
right.
Yeah.
And what you can do is you can come in and split row plant those food
Yep.
plots. You're planting
Yep.
double the seed rate. You apply double the fertilizer, and on the same acres your yield goes up, and,
Yep.
and that extends the life of some plots.
And you can plant plants that are less palatable and preferred.
That's right.
And
yeah.
that is quite effective,
Yep.
actually. It is. If the deer's stressed enough, they will eventually eat it,
right.
but at least gets established.
Yeah, the brassicas is a good example of that.
Great
yeah.
example of that.
And sorghum too. There's a
sorghum.
lot of varieties
Yep.
of sorghum, you know.
Vetch too.
Yep.
Vetch is not highly preferred. It is pretty
They
good
won't
for
touch.
deer. Yep, but it usually will get established. So less preferred plants is an option. Of course, shooting more deer is always an option, and it's a fairly easy option to do depending on your situation there. But in the end, if you want to keep deer out of a plot for a period of time, while that plot gets established, you can't beat a fence. You just can't. Now, our experience on electric fence, Mally, you saying they work great for you, and I do think that some of the configurations today are working good. When we first started trying to put reversible fences up to protect our food plots in South Texas, we went with standard, just vertical electric fence with denser spacing at the bottom and more widely spaced at the top. And it worked great for the first year. But once those deer figured out what lab was, the second year, they were circling that plot. And I'm gonna tell you, I saw this doe do it. She backed off and she looked at that fence and you could just see her saying, and she sucked it up and she went through that thing. She just charged it, hit that fence, went through, and when she did, it was literally like pulling your finger out of the dike. Buddy, everybody else was out there saying, I'm not gonna get left out. There was a wholesale assault. They went through the fence. From that point on, it didn't work. They took the punishment, but they got the lab. We ended up going with wire fences, where a flip-up fence, you have a fixed panel on top, a flippable panel on bottom, you flip your fence up, the deer go under. We don't like them jumping fences because they're hanging the back legs in.
Sure.
And so that works. But
And you
it's
just
a
need
lot
to
of
do it on a percentage of the perimeter too. You don't have to do it the whole.
We did it on the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, we did it on the whole thing with a gate to get the equipment in. Now, today, though, Dr. Gary Schwartz, who is an incredible innovator, he's been going with octagons and doing 8-sided food plots, and then putting the fixed fence only on four sides, and then only having the flip up or having gates on the other sides, and it's worked great. What you don't want is corners. Those coyotes will run a deer up in the corners and kill them. You don't want corners. And so by having an octagon,
right,
you've eliminated the corners, and that's working great. It's a lot cheaper.
That makes
than
a lot of
flippable
sense.
fence. Yeah. I don't know, huh?
I was just going to add that one advantage to having a fenced food plot is that you can come in with a cross fence. You can do something on one half of the plot. And
Dovetail, sunflowers, whatever. They like sunflowers.
Oh, yeah.
They leave those things up. Yeah, shoot more deer, plant more plots, or protect the plot. That's your only option if you want to keep the pressure off your plots.